Does anyone else feel like Benny in this film is really just Jax from Sons of Anarchy, just a lot quieter and doesn't say Jesus Christ all the time?
Jesus Christ.
The Bike Riders. In the 1960s, headstrong Kathy is drawn to Benny, who is a member of a Midwestern motorcycle club called the Vandals. As the club transforms more into a dangerous underworld gang of violence, Benny must choose between Kathy and his loyalty to the club and the club's original enigmatic member, Johnny.
Johnny always loved Benny.
This is our family. Forever.
This is a movie that's like based on true events, kind of, but it's more about the perspective of this photographer and this writer for a magazine that's really interviewing Kathy, and to get to know about her life in this motorcycle gang and how she first got involved with Benny. And it's really told through her eyes and through her perspective.
From the beginning,
Yes, please.
it was the golden age of bike riders. And I never felt so out of place in all my life. That's when I saw him for the first time.
This movie was written and directed by Jeff Nichols, who was the director of Take Shelter and Mud, which I am a big fan of both those movies. Both those movies took me by surprise. So when I heard he was finally writing this motorcycle movie, I was really excited to see what Jeff Nichols was going to cook up. And this film is amazing. I loved this movie. This actually might be one of my favorite movies of 2024. Awesome, just Hollywood yet felt independent, and a really great drama, and that's just all it was. It's an original story. It's not based on some IP. You know, it's got a little bit of true events in there, but it's definitely fictionalized for the sake of this movie. It's got an amazing writer-director in Jeff Nichols. Like, the way that he moves the camera throughout his scenes, the way he captures some of the images and some of the photographs that this movie is like based on. He just paints this beautiful, picturesque, Midwestern, movie that has some gorgeous images in it. And some of the shots of like the gang riding on the motorcycles and Benny crossing that bridge and looking back as he's on the bike. The way that some of these characters really pop off the screen just almost felt like a documentary in some ways. And that also is a testament to the amazing writing in this film. The writing is so good by Jeff Nichols. He should definitely be nominated for like best director, best writer for this film. I loved that this movie is just really like a day in the life of being in this motorcycle gang.
We took a vote. You're in.
Oh, no way! I'm in the cool group!
And yet he presents all these great big ideas of like innocence being corrupted and how something can go from being a good and positive thing and just eventually over time be worn into something ugly and what it's not originally supposed to be. Originally, this club is supposed to be a motorcycle club, not a gang. And this movie shows very well and very clearly how this club becomes a gang. And it's showing a lot about the duality of man, about, being loyal to something, yet there's something new and more important in your life, and giving up an old life to start a new one. I just loved the themes and ideas that Jeff Nichols presents in this film. It is so well penned and well directed. That also brings me to the performances. Jodie Comer is phenomenal in this movie. I know a lot of people were like, I'm not sure about her like Chicago accent.
5 weeks later, I married him. I thought I could change him, Not to be different, but to be, I don't know, like he's wild.
A lot of people have been criticizing her for it's like almost over the top. Personally, I didn't see that. I don't get it. I think, yes, it's a little bit of a over the top performance, but in the best way possible. She is a fun, outgoing character. She's got spunk. She's got drive. And I loved what Jodie Comer did with this performance. I think this is one of the best performances of the year so far. She just anchors the film. It's like Ray Liotta in The Goodfellas. He's the one narrating, just like Kathy is narrating in this film. And she is so awesome in her facial expressions, the way that she tells her stories, the way that she speaks certain words, and the little looks that she gives. I thought she was absolutely the star of this film. Even though just like in Goodfellas, it's populated by Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro in these wonderful performances. This movie also has these great lead performances. Benny, played by Austin Butler, who's this kind of cool, calm, collected, quiet guy, but has a lot of violence and confidence underneath him. And then you have the enigmatic Johnny, played by the amazing Tom Hardy, in one of the best roles he's done in the last, maybe even 10 years. I thought he was awesome in this film, and he also, just like Jodie Comer, should be nominated for an Academy Award. Just the little subtleties in Tom Hardy's performance are just brilliant. And that also brings me to the rest of the cast. This cast is amazing. It's got Michael Shannon, who's hilarious and amazing in this film. Norman Reedus, who is unrecognizable as his character. Just a greatly populated film with wonderful actors and just bringing their A game. And you can tell that they all were sort of influencing each other just to bring their top-notch, performances, because everyone is just at their absolute best in this movie. I thought it was so good for the performances. The production design of this movie of the 1960s and early 70s was so well done, from the bikes. If you're a bike lover, you're going to enjoy the hell out of this film. Production, the cars, the motorcycles, the costumes, all of it was just beautiful to look at. The movie definitely has some tones of Easy Rider, and they even reference that movie in this film. It feels a little bit like Sons of Anarchy at times, especially with the character of Benny.
Jesus Christ.
The tone is great. It definitely travels in between comedy and intense drama multiple times throughout this film, and I love the way that Jeff Nichols navigates those tones throughout this film, because it seems seamless at times, yet fits the overall package that this movie arrives in beautifully.
Oh, I see. Then everything is wrapped up in a neat little package.
The biggest thing for me that this movie doesn't quite reach that A+, best films ever status, is that there are some pacing issues with this movie at times. There are sections of this movie where it does feel a day in the life of a little bit too much.
Much too much.
Not that that's wrong, but it kind of brings down the stakes of the movie a little bit, and it does mess with the pacing of the film as well. I just wish that it was a little bit tighter in its storytelling, and there felt like there was a little bit more weightiness to the stakes of this film. Really, that's being very nitpicky, and these are the things that I'm having to do with this film in order for me to bring down the grade, because I didn't. I wanted to give this movie really an A+ status. I just couldn't quite get there in the end.
Ooh, so close.
But I highly recommend this movie. Definitely check it out in theaters. Before I give my final thoughts on this film, if you like this video, please click that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. Also, comment down below, what did you think of The Bike Riders? Are you a fan of Jeff Nichols? What is your favorite Jeff Nichols film so far? Is this an Academy Award winning film and performances? I would love to hear your thoughts and your comments down below. Please make sure you do that. Overall, I had an awesome time with this film. I think this is one of the best put together movies of the year so far. I'm gonna go ahead and give The Bike Riders an A. Yes! Thank you so much for checking out Mr. T's Film Preach. Come back and check out some other reviews such as Hitman and Maxine. And we'll see you on the next film. Stay focused, stay awesome, and as always, let's get taught.